All right. Welcome, welcome. Good to see everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. Good to see your smiling faces or your avatars or your names, whatever, however you're showing up right now. Glad to have you with us tonight. And this is going to be week number 1 as we go through the science of getting rich. And what I want to do is very quickly hop in right now and share my screen with everybody and just point out a couple things real quick. We've got people here that are brand new that haven't been through this, and then we have people that have that decided to return and re-audit and join us again. So everybody who's here, you're totally welcome to be here. Glad to have you. And I want to first share with you, for anybody who has not done so yet, if you're new, you probably haven't. And obviously, if you've been with us, you already have. But I want to point out that we have a Facebook group attached to what we're doing here. The name is Science of Getting Rich with Coach Kevin. So again, that's Science of Getting Rich with Coach Kevin. I would ask that if you have not done so and joined the group, go ahead and find it on Facebook and ask to join. And obviously we'll check to make sure that you're part of this class, which you guys all are. Every once in a while, somebody finds the class that isn't part of the class and wants to join it. But anyhow, those of you who are part of the class and want to join it, we will let you in so you can have access to everything that we have in there. You can also find us at facebook.com/groups/Science of Getting Rich with Coach Kevin. And within this Facebook group, just to kind of give you a quick idea, for instance, you go down here, and today, I know we've had it before, but I just reposted the workbook that we're going to be working along with. So I did send, you all should have it anyway, but just in case you don't, or you don't have it handy and you need to download it or pull it up, there it is. And then we're going to go through the introduction tonight. We're going to go through the introduction that was done with Sandy Gallagher and Bob Proctor. However, if you don't have those files handy, or if it's easier to access here, what I've done is I've given you a link to an audio on a YouTube video that was done several years ago that follows along essentially the same material. So it's a little bit different, but in case you for whatever reason, you just want to access it through Facebook, you haven't downloaded the zip files yet and turned them into MP3s you can carry along with you, here's somewhere where you can find it. So I just want you to know where you can access everything. This is a place where you can come in and ask questions outside of when we're together on Tuesday nights. So just want to make sure everybody knows this is where you can find things. Let's see. The next thing that I want to go ahead and share with you is the Science of Getting Rich workbook itself. So you can follow along by watching the screen, or obviously on your own computer, you could look at your own version, and obviously you can download it and print it out if you so choose. But let me talk about what we're going to do and kind of how we're going to follow along with things. It's going to be different than we did last time. I think this will get it a little bit deeper. We had some great success and some great success stories, especially that was really cool what Madeline shared with us last week. She basically, her income became nearly 20 times what it normally was for this particular enrollment for a class that she does. So that was pretty awesome to hear that. She's very excited about that. Anyhow, here's the workbook, and I want to show you a few things. So this week's lesson, some of you were already assigned to listen to it. Some of you were not. That's okay. We're going to go through it tonight. But this is basically the introduction and the basics. So if you look here at the table of contents, it's the introduction and the basics, and then what you have after that. So I consider that kind of chapter 1, even though it's not chapter 1. And then you've got 17 chapters. However, the 17th chapter is a summary and it's short. So really what we end up with is this week plus 17 additional weeks as we go through all of this. That is the 18 weeks that we're together. okay? This particular week, as you go through it, or as you went through it, and as we go through it tonight, you're going to see something that's different from the other weeks, okay? First of all, you're going to find that the audio and the written word are not going to match up quite as well. Bob Proctor jumps around a bit more in this particular one for the beginning and the introduction and whatnot. But when you get to the actual chapters themselves going forward, they will follow more closely together. So we're going to, again, like I said, we're going to go through this tonight. So don't worry, I'm scanning on purpose. And I'm getting us over to chapter 1 because I want to show you something here just so you know what's coming up, okay, and how this works. So if you looked at any, and as I was scanning, there weren't really any specific exercises for you to do any writing or answer questions or whatnot in this week's lesson, okay? And so this week is not going to be your assignment when we're done tonight. Your assignment is going to be it's going to be chapter number 1. We're going to go through tonight together, okay? And then you're going to go through chapter 1 over the next 7 days until we meet again on Tuesday night. But I want to show you something in this particular chapter, and this is the way all the chapters are going to be. They're going to be different lengths of time. Sometimes they'll be 30 minutes, 20 minutes, minutes. Typically, you're going to be somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour daily on what you're going to be doing, okay? But what I would like you to do going forward, before what I asked you to do was read the entire Science of Getting Rich over the first 2 days, not this workbook, but just the book version, which is short. It can be done easily in 2 days in about an hour and 5 minutes a day. But I'm not going to have you do that this time. What I want you to do is take the audio, and I'll show you what the audios are in a moment when we get started. I want you to take the audio and the workbook, and then on chapter 1, each day from here until we meet again, I want you to go through the entire chapter, okay? I want you to listen to Sandy and Bob share with you what they're teaching as you go through the chapter. So before, we were having you do things a little bit more passively. I was okay if you listened to it. You know, we actually said, look, read the Science of Getting Rich for 2 days, listen to Bob and Sandy for 3 days, work on the workbook for 2 days. And that definitely is good. That's awesome. That's worked pretty well in the past. However, what's really going to ingrain this into you and give you the best results is if you use more of your senses each day as you're doing this. So it's going to take a little more concentration on it, but you're going to listen to the audio while going through the chapter. And then what's going to happen eventually in each chapter, sometimes in the middle of it, more often than not, though, towards the end of the chapter, you're going to have questions. So you're going to stop the audio as the questions get asked and work on the question. Then start the audio back up, have them go over the next question, then work on the question. Start the audio up, work on the next question, pause, work on the question, start the audio up, work on the next question. And then here's another exercise. So not just question, another exercise to do. So have Bob share with you, then stop it and answer the question, and then play it again, and then stop it, then answer the question or do the exercise. And then at the end of each week, there is always this page, which is, as a result of what you've learned from this chapter, state what you intend to do in the future to begin doing things in a certain way. Now, there's actually 8 slots here, and there's no special reason for that, okay? The 8 slots are there simply because that's probably how many they could put on one sheet of paper. So you can go ahead and print this book out if you want to. That's not how I do it. What I do is I keep a separate notebook with some note paper, and I save that for writing down the exercises and the questions. I personally use my laptop, and I read along, read along. And then when I get to a question, I write down, like right here, I write down as a result of what you've learned, and then I write the answers. Do you need to do 8 at the end of every week? The more the better. Okay. You don't have to stop at 8, but you don't have to do 8 either. But the whole idea is to say, hey, look, I learned something this week. What am I going to do with what I learned? Now you're like, now am I doing this every single day? Like this whole thing, like I'm going to rewrite this every single day? Maybe. What you're going to do is you're going to do the work on day 1. Okay. And then as you get to it, you're going to either add to it, add to your question, or add to your answers, or change your answers until at the end of the week, you've got it the way you really want it to be. But I don't want you to be lazy about it. I want you to listen and follow along in the chapters. Why are we doing this? We learn in different ways, okay? Some of us learn by listening, therefore you're going to have audio. Some of us learn visually, therefore you're going to be following along and reading as Bob is reading it with you. And then we also learn by doing, which is why you're actually going to do the exercises. Here's the point of what's supposed to happen as a result of going through this. We are retraining our minds to accept, first of all, and this is what the first couple, 2, 3, 4 chapters are about, are going to be helping you subconsciously surrender to the idea that being rich is actually a good idea. Now you may say to yourself already, well, of course it's a good idea, or why the heck would I be in this class, right? Maybe on a conscious level, that's how you feel. On a subconscious level, if you aren't having the results and have not had the results that you want, then your subconscious mind hasn't accepted the idea that money is good for you yet. Or it is limited to you that this is how much you need to do whatever it is, and it's leaving you with limitations, and you're not unfolding to be everything you can become, okay? So we're doing this on purpose. It is going, very few of you, I wish you all would, and I'm going to put a challenge out there for you to do it. Very few of you, though, will do this every week. The ones that do it every week, though, I talked to Madeline. She did every one of these every week. She missed 1 or 2 classes that she couldn't be on with us on Tuesday night when we were doing it. Very few did she miss, maybe 2, maybe 3 out of 18. But she never missed doing the work. And I remember a couple times getting an email message from her asking a few questions, but also, do I really need to be this repetitive? This is starting to get boring. And that was probably, I don't know, she brought that up about halfway through. And I said, I know. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. And I found out that even though it was maybe not the most exciting thing, as I went and persevered through it a little bit longer, it became easier and enjoyable again. How could something that was fun at first become boring and then become enjoyable again? Because the subconscious is starting to accept it. The subconscious is telling you that this is boring because it's trying to convince you that it's pointless to do it. And if it can convince you that it's pointless because nothing specific or special has happened yet, the subconscious wins. The subconscious is not your enemy. The subconscious is not your friend. The subconscious has a purpose. The subconscious purpose is to keep you safe. The subconscious is what keeps you alive. Its definition of safe is what is normal for you. It says, okay, safe equals what's normal. And it doesn't judge good, bad, right, or wrong. So what it does is it looks at your life and it looks at what you've gone through over and over and over again. It basically looks for that Groundhog Day message. And it says, okay, what is normal for this person is they brush their teeth this way. What's normal for this person is that they put their pants on this way. What's normal for this person is they drink this, beverage in the morning to help them get going. What's normal for this person, and it takes your life and tries to structure it into something that's automatic and normal, even if it's not good for you. If you're making $20,000 a year and that's what you've been making and your bills are $30,000, your subconscious mind doesn't say that's dangerous. It should. It should say that is dangerous. You can't make $20,000 a year and spend 30 and have things go well for you. All it does is go, hey, $20,000 is normal. So when you stretch out to try and make $30,000, $40,000, or $50,000, your subconscious mind goes, that's not normal. Therefore, it tries to stop you until you can convince your subconscious mind that making more money and being wealthy is what would be normal for you. Because once it decides something is normal for you, it will go out of its way to help you get it. But as long as it thinks something is abnormal for you, it's going to go out of its way to try and keep you from doing it or having it. Okay? So I will just want to make that distinction for you. So we are going to now go back to the top here. All right, not to chapter 1. We're going to go back to the introduction. And for a little bit here, we are going to listen to Bob and Sandy together and go through this together. Now, the other reason we're doing things a little different this week, besides being the first week, is, like I said, Bob and Sandy don't follow as well along with this first introduction and beginning as they will through the chapters as they go along. They'll be easier to follow. This one's going to kind of jump around, and Bob's going to talk a bit more and tell some stories, but he's wanting to give you the background on why the study of the science of getting rich is beneficial to you and for me and for anybody. So he's going to be sharing that based on his experience and the many years that he's been helping other people do this. In case you guys aren't aware of it, Bob Proctor is actually one of my coaches. I've gone through Bob Proctor's training programs to be a coach for Bob Proctor's programs. And the science of getting rich for me personally is one that has had a major impact on my life. And so it's one of my favorite things to share with other people. Okay, so I'm going to come back to here. And let's see. I'm going, like I said, I'm going to try to follow along with what they're doing. I need to get over to the audio part and let Sandy and Bob get rolling with this here. So you guys aren't going to have this. This is something I've got working together with Bob that I have access to as a coach. But what I will say is you all have been sent a particular file. You've all been given access to the workbook, and you've all been sent access. I go down further, I'll show you here. You've been sent the zip file, which are these audios. These aren't videos, these are audios that go along. And let me get to the one we're going to be doing right now. And here's what I'd like you to do. I think I left the sound on from my computer for screen share, so hopefully you can hear the audio. What I'd like you to do is just kind of nod your heads once I get it playing if you can hear the audio from the computer. Thank you.
Back around 1903, Wallace D. Wattles shared a wonderful truth with the world. He said, a person's right to life means his right to have the free and unrestricted use of all the things which may be necessary to as full as mental, spiritual, and physical unfolding. In other words, his right to be rich.
Hello, this is Sandy Gallagher, President, CEO, and co-founder of the Proctor Gallagher Institute. And I want to let you in on a secret that, if you allow it to, will utterly and completely change your life. Getting rich isn't a matter of luck, ability, or talent. It's a matter of science. Do certain things in a certain way and you will get rich. Automatically, infallibly, guaranteed. A man named Wallace D. Wattles first articulated this stunning truth over 100 years ago in a remarkable little book called The Science of Getting Rich. Passed from person to person, kept alive by word of mouth, it became the stuff of legend, a mysterious treasure that seemed to bestow the Midas touch on all who absorbed and applied its principles. One fateful night, 73 years later, this book fell into the hands of Bob Proctor, setting in motion a certain chain of events that would ultimately impact millions of lives. At the time, Bob had been a serious student of human potential for close to a decade, ever since a chance discovery of Napoleon Hill's renowned work, Think and Grow Rich, had revolutionized his thinking and redirected the course of his life. Bob had been studying the great Earl Nightingale's material since shortly after Earl began recording his philosophy, and was at that very moment fulfilling the goal he had set of working side by side with Earl and his partner Lloyd Conant at the Nightingale Conant headquarters in Chicago. But nothing he had studied or experienced could have prepared Bob for the new dimension he was about to step into. On that night, over dinner at his home, Lloyd Conant began telling Bob about the near magical powers of a little green book he himself had stumbled upon years earlier. It was this book, Lloyd said, that had given him an infallible formula for wealth and success, and led directly to the creation of his and Earl's company. Captivated, Bob asked him the name of this extraordinary book. The Science of Getting Rich, Lloyd told him, and proceeded to hand Bob his very own copy. From that moment on, his life was never the same. Bob studied The Science of Getting Rich backwards and forwards until he'd memorized it. He internalized its insights and instructions so thoroughly that they became a part of his very being, the automatic underpinning of every word he spoke, wrote, and every action he took. The results astounded him, and soon he began sharing this book's wisdom and his radically unique system for implementing it with others. Since then, millions of people all over the world have discovered and mastered the certain things Wattles describes in his book and become very rich as a result, thanks to Bob Proctor's in-depth interpretation and expert step-by-step guidance. One of those millions of people is me. In August of 2006, I walked into a seminar in Vancouver, Washington, and my life began to move in a totally different direction. At that point, I had achieved a tremendous amount of success. I'd excelled in school, practiced law on Wall Street, and become equity partner in 2 major law firms. Professionally and materially, I thought I was where I wanted to be. And as I listened to Bob's presentation, I could see that I'd come as far as I had in large part because I'd been following many of the principles that he was talking about for my entire life without even knowing it. But something Bob said struck me like a lightning bolt and echoed in my mind over and over again in the coming days. He said, "What do you really want?" That question made me realize that all the success I'd achieved was actually a reflection of what other people wanted for me, of other people's visions and expectations. I'd absorbed those expectations so thoroughly and fulfilled them so well, it never occurred to me until this time that they weren't really mine. Now, for the first time, I could see that, and I knew I had to make a change. That day ignited a whole new set of goals that originated in my own mind. When I wrote those goals down in my notebook, the words were so small I could barely read them. That's how remote, how unreal they seemed to me at the time. But as I contemplated and applied what I'd learned from Bob, they became real. I committed myself to them, and every single one of them has since come to fruition. I conceived the Thinking into Results program in my mind immediately after that life-changing day, and together with Bob, I created it. I decided on that day that I would become a part of Bob's inner circle and his closest advisor, and not long afterwards, I did, ultimately taking our partnership to a whole new level with the formation of the Proctor Gallagher Institute. The information I heard that day, the information that would cause me to make such a radical shift in my life and lead me to where I am now, is the very same information that you're about to encounter yourself. Bob Proctor's phenomenal, unrivaled presentation of Wallace Wattles' The Science of Getting Rich. While I sat in that seminar, I took the ideas that you're about to explore and permitted them to activate my imagination. I began to dream of what my life would be like if I would just follow my own path, do my thing, and do it to the best of my ability every day. I was getting excited. I can promise you, if you will permit yourself to get emotionally involved with the ideas that you're about to hear, you will get excited. And I mean really excited, dreaming of what you're capable of doing and knowing that you now have the tools to make that dream come true. You are about to experience a feeling of tremendous power. It will flow into your mind. It will change how you feel. It will change how you act. It will totally and completely shift your perception of life. It will prime your mind for a future of wealth and freedom you have yet to dream of. It happened to Wallace Wattles. It happened to Bob Proctor. It happened to me. It has happened to many, many others. Now it's your turn. Welcome to the beginning of a life more magnificent than you ever thought possible. Welcome to the you are always truly meant to be. Welcome to the science of getting rich. Here's Bob Proctor.
There's been a number of people that have had a profound impact on my life, but there's two in particular, Rhonda Byrne and Lloyd Conant. With The Secret, Rhonda totally shifted my thinking, my business world, my life. Lloyd Conant introduced me to this work of Wallace Wattles way back around 1968. I've never stopped studying it. With The Secret and the Science of Getting Rich, I honestly believe this is going to change the consciousness of the entire world. The world is waking up. They're waking up in great numbers. The Secret is impacting their life. And the Science of Getting Rich is going to show everyone how to develop what all of the people on The Secret are talking about, how to develop that law of attraction, how to move into harmony with the law. Let me begin by the comments that Stuart Edward White and Harwood White shared with us. They said, curious how we acquire wisdom. Over and over again, the same truth is thrust under our very noses. We encounter it in action, we are admonished of it, we read it in the written word. We suffer the experience. We gradually assent to the advice. We approve intellectually the written word, but nothing happens inside us. Then one day, some trivial experience or word or encounter stops us short. A gleam of illumination penetrates the depths of our consciousness. We see. Usually it is but a glimpse. But on a rare occasion, a brilliant flash reveals truth fully formed, and we marvel that this understanding has escaped us for so long. As I was sharing the words, then one day some trivial experience or word or encounter stops us short, I'm quite certain that that's exactly what happens to millions of people as they sit down and turn on the movie The Secret. It's expanding everyone's mind. It's opening up the mind of the world to the way God meant us to live. A gentleman by the name of Steve Bow one time said, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to use in our lifetime. And our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as we can in this lifetime. I believe that's what The Secret is waking people up to. And that is what the Science of Getting Rich is designed to help you actually do. Many years ago, I had the very good fortune of working on the stage with Eric Hoffer. He said something that was rich with truth, and it stuck in my mind. He said, in times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. Well, think about that. He said, in times of change, the learners will inherit the earth. I took that to be metaphorical, that they'll be happy, healthy, and wealthy. Well, the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. Our world is changing. The world's not getting bigger, it's getting smaller. We're dealing in a global marketplace today. It's not uncommon for people to talk a number of times a day from opposite sides of the globe. The world is changing. And the learners will become the happy, healthy, wealthy ones. There's no such thing as a learned individual. There's no such thing as an educated individual. Education comes from the Latin educo, meaning to educe, to develop, or to draw out from within. So learning is not hammering information into our head. It's becoming aware of what's already inside of us. Now, Hoffer also said, to learn, you need a certain degree of confidence, not too much and not too little. If you have too little confidence, you'll think you can't learn. If you have too much, you'll think you don't have to learn. You know, it's conceivable as you sit and watch The Secret that you might think that there's some emotional or capricious God has blessed the people in that movie with something that you haven't got. But that's not the way it is. The whole idea of the movie is to make you aware that what each one of us on that movie are talking about, you have. And it's just simply a matter of becoming aware of it. It's like the Whites said, then one day some trivial experience. And it's going to be something small, and it may just be a flash, but I can assure you, if you will study this program like I've studied it, like many other people have studied it, you're going to find that your world is going to start to change. It's almost like looking through a pair of binoculars and you're bringing things into focus. And every time you think it's crystal clear and you just shift it a bit, it becomes clearer. You have infinite potential. There's no end to what you're capable of doing. And the beautiful truth is, this program is going to help you bring that potential to the surface and begin living the rich life. All the way through The Science of Getting Rich, Wallace D. Wattles reminds us that you don't get rich by doing certain things. You get rich by doing things in a certain way. That certain way is what Rhonda really grasped in the film The Secret. See, Rhonda Byrne was illuminated. She studied this book, and a gleam of illumination penetrated the depths of her consciousness, and she was inspired to share this with the world, which she's doing. And it's growing so rapidly. And now you've got it in your hands to learn how to move into harmony with those laws. If you go and stand in front of the mirror, you will see a reflection of your body, but you will not see a reflection of yourself. That's your body. That's the house you live in. Your body is a molecular structure. It's a mass of molecules at a very high speed of vibration. If you're going to change the results in your life, you're going to have to go inside. You're going to have to begin tapping into your mind. And you know, way back around 1934, there was a doctor, Thurman Fleet, who became aware that we're approaching people the wrong way. He was involved in the healing arts, and he had a tremendous desire to help people understand what holistic health was all about. That's dealing with the whole person, the spiritual being, the intellectual being, and the physical being. And he said, what we're really doing is treating symptoms when we're dealing with the physical. And he said, we have to work with the higher side. We have to begin working with the mind. Now, he said, we've got a basic problem here. No one has ever seen the mind. In fact, if I asked you to think of the mind, you probably, if anything, get an image of your brain on the screen of your mind, because we think in pictures. Think of your house. A picture of your house will come on the screen of your mind. Think of your automobile, and again an image will come onto the screen of your mind of your automobile. Your front door, your kitchen table. Do you see how pictures flash on the mind? Now think of your mind. What picture do you get? If you're like most people, no picture comes to the mind. Confusion reigns. And that's what Thurman Fleet became aware of. Now, he said, since no one has ever seen the mind, I'm going to make a picture of the mind. And he drew this picture of a large circle and a small circle. We refer to that as the stick person. And that represents the mind. Now, I want you to imagine that your head is your mind and everything from the neck down as being the body. Now, of course, that's not the way it is. Mind is movement. Mind is not a thing. So mind is in your fingernail, it's in your hair, it's in every molecule of your being. But we do have to have an image to operate with. So we're going to let the head represent the mind, and everything from the neck down represent the body. Now we're going to put an imaginary horizontal line from ear to ear. Everything above that line we're going to refer to as the conscious mind. Everything below that horizontal line is going to be referred to as the subconscious mind. Now, as we go through this program, I'm going to refer to the conscious mind many different ways. I may call it the intellectual mind. I may refer to it as the reasoning factor, the imagining system. And the subconscious mind I could refer to as the emotional mind, where the feeling center resides. This is the innate minds, where universal intelligence. There's many, many different terminologies that you can use to describe these various parts of the mind. To start off with, we're going to call it the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Now, the conscious mind has hooked up to it like little antennae, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, touching. These are sensory factors. They're hooked up to our conscious mind, and they help us correspond and communicate with our outside world. I want you to imagine that a person's walking down the street, and they've got these 5 little antennae sticking out of their head. Now, we would certainly look a little strange if we had that, but of course, if we've always had it, it wouldn't look strange at all. Well, that's really the way it is. We have these little antennae, and they pick up all kinds of information from outside. Now, I think, as Moses said, they're both a blessing and a curse, because they not only pick up all kinds of distractions, but they also feed good information in. We see what something looks like. We can taste things. We feel it. You see what I'm talking about? Your sensory factors help you correspond and communicate with your outside world. Now, in your conscious mind, as we're going to find, you also have intellectual factors. You've got the ability to think, and you can think anything you want to think, and you think in pictures. Now, if I'm sharing an idea with you, which I'm doing right now, I am attempting to form images in your conscious mind. As these images come to your conscious mind, because you can think, because you do have a reasoning factor, you can accept or reject anything you hear. There's a great book written by Dr. Viktor Frankl. He was a Jewish psychiatrist that spent the war years in a camp, and he was subjected to a respectable amount of physical and intellectual abuse. But it was while he was in the camp that he became aware that no one could cause him to think something he didn't want to think. He wrote a book on it called Man's Search for Meaning. You and I have the ability to choose our thoughts. If you see a headline in the paper that said the economy's going down the tubes, and that comes into your consciousness, you can reject that. You don't need to get emotionally involved with that idea. If someone says something to you that's unpleasant and you don't want to get emotionally involved, just reject it. We choose the images that we accept and the ones we reject. Now, unfortunately, as little children, we were actually conditioned to live from the outside in. As we go through this program, I am going to encourage you to switch that around and begin living from the inside out. Do you know that's what the Bible teaches you? The Quran, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita, all the good books tell us to go inside, live from the inside out. But we've been programmed from our childhood to live from the outside in. We get a report card, and we look at the report card. And if the numbers on it aren't too good in school, we think we're not very good as a student, that we're missing something. The truth is, the report card just tells us where our mind was at for a very short period of time, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. It has absolutely nothing to do with our potential. We have infinite potential, and we want to start to think that way. As we go along, we're going to start to go inside. The conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject. So, as you go through the program, you're going to see the graphic illustration that we refer to as the stick person, and it's all the way through our program. So as you're driving along or you're walking along, if you look at another person, begin to look at their head as their mind and everything from the neck down as being the body. You know, I have formed the habit of doing this. If I were to sit down and talk to you, immediately I would have an imaginary line from ear to ear. And everything above that line would be your conscious mind. And I'd be attempting to get your conscious attention. And because I know how your conscious mind works, I could probably be successful without too much trouble. Now, let's go below that imaginary line. That's called the subconscious mind. Do you know the subconscious mind has no ability to reject? It'll accept anything you give to it. It's like a magic area, and it's inside of us. It'll accept anything. Doesn't matter what it is. It's not able to differentiate between what's real and what's imagined. Your subconscious mind, if you wanted to get technical about it, you could say it's totally deductive. It has absolutely no ability to reject. It can only accept. So whatever gets into that part of your mind affects your entire body. Just see, your body is an instrument of your mind. The body is an instrument of the mind. When you see a body moving in a certain direction, what you're really watching is the body expressing what's going on in the mind. If you watch a person, they start this and stop it, they start that and stop it, they go here and then they turn around, they go there, and they're all over the place. It's obvious their mind is in a state of confusion, and that confusion is being expressed in their action. Get into a person's automobile. It frequently looks like some of the people that you know are moonlighting in the garbage business. I mean, the automobile is totally upside down. Do you know that gives you an indication of what's going on in their mind? Another person, you'll get in their automobile and everything is just perfect. What have you got there? You've got an orderly mind. You go into their home, there's order. Our mind is what determines what's going on in our outside world. Now, the subconscious mind will accept anything, and the images that you accept on a conscious level and impress upon the subconscious mind, they control the vibration that your body's in. Now, this may be new terminology to you. You may have never thought of your body being in a vibration. Hold your hand up in front of you. Actually, look at your hand. I'm looking at mine right now, and you've got to admit it looks solid, but you want to know something? At the very best, it's a sieve. It is a mass of molecules and a very high speed of vibration. And you know that you've got the ability to alter the vibration it's in? Now, the vibration it's in is going to determine how you feel. When you ask a person how they feel, what you're really saying is, what vibration are you in? And they will tell you, if they're consciously aware of being in a negative vibration, they'll probably tell you they don't feel that good. If they're consciously aware of being in a very good vibration, they'll probably say, I feel pretty good. We can control our own feelings. We control our feelings by virtue of the images that we build in our consciousness and turn over to our subconscious. So now, let's get the picture. I want you to visualize your head as your mind. You've got that imaginary line running from ear to ear, and above it, I want you to start to build a beautiful picture. I want you to see yourself very wealthy. You are clothed in the finest garments that are available to man. They are absolutely beautiful garments. You see that in your mind. You are driving a very luxurious car. You're living in a beautiful home. You're able to take magnificent vacations. You see an opulent lifestyle. You build a picture of that. Now you can take and let that picture sink right into your subconscious mind. And do you know that if you would continually do that, that's the way you're going to end up living, because it's the images that you impress upon your subconscious mind that controls the vibration you're in. All the way through The Secret, they talked about thinking in a certain way and attracting it into their life. If you held that image and you kept getting emotionally involved in the image, because that's what getting emotionally involved means. It means turning the image over to the subconscious mind. You move into that vibration, and instantly and automatically attractive force moves into motion. And you begin to attract to you all things requisite to the fulfillment of that picture. I know this works because I do it. When I first started to study this material, I was earning $4,000 a year, and I owed $6,000. I had no formal education. I had no business experience, and I was working at the best job I had ever had in my life. I was a firefighter with the East York Fire Department. That's a suburb of Toronto. And I probably thought I was going to stay there for the rest of my life until I was introduced to this material. And my life began to change. And in a relatively short period of time, my income went from $4,000 a year to $175,000 a year. And then it went over $1 million a year. I was on a call last night with a man named Alex Mendozian. He's a marketing genius, this man. And he was telling the audience in the conference call that we were on how he was earning $68,000 a year. And he left his job in the eastern part of the United States and moved to the San Francisco area where his family lived. He and his wife had a couple of little children, and they wanted the children to be around the grandparents. And he had listened to a recording that I made that said you can actually turn your annual income to a monthly income. And he said he began to think, how can I turn my annual income to a monthly? He didn't think he couldn't. He began to think of how he could. And he said, I actually did it. I earned $68,000 in a month. And he said I did it 2 or 3 times. And then it was just a matter of doing it 12 times a year. And he shared with the audience that he's actually done that in an hour. And he's done it 16 different times. See, there's no end to what you and I can do. I want to recommend that you begin thinking of turning your annual income into a monthly income. I was working with a business associate of mine, Wolfgang Sonnenberg. We were in Hamburg, Germany. His company offered $1 million bonus for anyone that could reach a certain sales level. He immediately went there and did it. And in a meeting, I asked him, Wolfgang, when did you decide that you were going to earn that $1 million bonus? He said, the minute they announced it. He said, I figured if they're going to give it away, I would take it. Now, there were tens of thousands of other people operating in that same organization. But nobody else made that decision. Why did he make that decision? Because he wanted it. And he had an idea. He had an awareness that if he wanted it and saw himself with it and got emotionally involved in it, that he would attract everything that was required for the manifestation of the picture. What do you want? What do you really want? Now, we've invested a bit of time discussing the mind. Let's take a look at the third aspect of our personality. You've got the conscious mind, the subconscious, and you have the body. The body is the instrument of the mind. It obeys the operations of the mind. It will do whatever the mind tells it to do. The body is a delicate plastic instrument. It is a mass of molecules in a high speed of vibration. If we keep the body vibrating in harmony with God's laws, it will stay healthy. And if we don't, it will break down. Now, we've got the ability to control that. We can keep our body alive and vibrant. This whole universe operates by law. We're going to discuss the laws in depth. But Dr. Werner von Braun said that the natural laws of our universe are so precise that we don't have any difficulty building spaceships, sending people to the moon, and we can actually time the landing with the precision of a fraction of a second. He also said these laws must have been set by someone, but we'll leave that for another lesson. Now think, the images that you impress by law are being expressed with and through your body. Now I want you to notice that there's a 4-step process here, and we want to get all 3 parts of our personality working in harmony by following these 4 steps. Number 1 is thoughts. Begin to pay attention to what you're thinking. Number 2, you internalize those thoughts and you create a feeling. Make sure you're feeling good about everything you do. Number 3, those feelings are expressed in actions. Pay attention to your actions. Do everything you're doing as well as you can possibly do it. And number 4 is results. Pay attention to your results. And understand this, you are in control of your results. Do you see, when I first began to study this, as I've already mentioned, I was unhappy, I was sick, and I was broke. I thought somebody else was the cause of my results. I was a victim. Victims lose. Victims never learn that they are in control of their results. I want you to make up your mind that from this moment on, you're going to be consciously aware of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and what you're doing, and realize that if the results are not the results you want, you've got the ability to change them. Don't feel bad because the results are not what you want, feel good that you're aware that you can change them. And then step into action and build an image of the good that you desire. Get emotionally involved in it, step into action on it, and watch the results change. You will attract to you everything required through the great secret of life, the law of attraction. As we go through this program, your mind is going to keep expanding. The light is going to keep getting brighter and brighter. And you're going to wake up and you're going to say, now I see. The same thing will happen to you that happened to me. The same thing's going to happen to you that happened to Rhonda Byrne. And then you want to ask yourself, will I do what these people have done? Will I share this with the world? Because if you decide to do that, you're going to have a magnificent life. Absolutely magnificent. And I trust that you will. This is such a wonderful program. It's the science of getting rich. And you've got it. You own it. Understand it. Digest it. Internalize it. Live it. And share it.
All right. So you got to hear from Bob, you got to hear from Sandy a little bit, get to hear from me a little bit here. I recommend that you go through, I know what the assignment's going to be. However, I recommend that you go through and read. You don't need to listen to that again, but just go ahead and read through the introduction and the beginning part of this a little bit. I'm going to go over this, though, right here as far as the basics go. Because I know Bob didn't go over all of this, or at least not in the format that it is here. Understanding precedes change. To bring order and understanding to your mind, you must have an image to work with, like he talked about. Since your mind is the unseen part of your personality, you must engage your imagination to build this image. This can be accomplished with the stick person. The stick person, like all other ideas presented in the seminar, is extremely simple. Do not allow the apparent simplicity to deceive you. For the stick person concept can reveal to you a wonderful world of power, possibility, and promise. The seminar is built upon the premise that you have a power within you that is far superior to any condition or circumstance around you. With free will, your thoughts direct the power to whatever results you choose in this lifetime. Let me repeat that. With free will, so it's 100% your choice, your thoughts direct this power to whatever results you choose in this lifetime. Although the difference in what you've earned over the past 12 months and what you choose, okay, to earn over the next 12 months may be great, the change you will have to make in your personality could be small. How cool is that? Let me repeat that. Although the difference in what you've earned over the past 12 months and what you choose to earn over the next 12 months may be great, the change you'll have to make in your personality could be small. So you don't have to necessarily change who you are. You're already built with the capability to have what it is that you want. You just need to understand how you work, and you need to get your subconscious mind to accept what it is that you want and turn it into what is normal. Again, when the subconscious mind decides that what you're asking for would be normal for you, would be good for you, would be what you should have versus what you do have, it will go out and help you get it, okay? The conscious mind. This is the part of you that thinks and reasons. Your free will lies here. This is the part of your mind that will decide how much money you want to earn. The conscious mind can accept or reject any idea. No person or circumstance can cause you to think about thoughts or ideas you do not choose. Okay, repeat that. No person or circumstance can cause you to think about thoughts or ideas you do not choose. In other words, you have to actually let it in. The thoughts you choose eventually determine the results in your life. Now, there have been a lot of things that have been let in up to this point because you were unaware of your ability, maybe, to not have them come in, to accept them. And there were things that happened possibly very likely to you throughout your life when you were younger. And, you know, your ideas, thoughts, feelings were formed by your environment, by those you spent time around. But as of right now, there is nothing that has happened to you that is so, okay, so terrible. I know you all can come up with stories. Look, I got plenty of them too. But basically, you can turn anything around at this point. If you're not healthy, you can turn it around. If you're not wealthy, you can turn it around. If your relationship stinks, you can turn it around. If you're not happy, you can turn it around, starting now. So the point of it is right now, you get to now start making the choice of what you want your life to be like. And as we go through this over the next several weeks, you're going to be shown exactly how to do that. And the intention, again, is to reprogram your subconscious mind so that it helps you instead of fights against you. Because your subconscious mind is always going to become the winner. So we need to make sure that the subconscious mind is actually agreeing with us about what is normal for us. The conscious mind can accept or reject any idea. No person or circumstance can cause you to think the thoughts or ideas you do not choose. The thoughts you choose eventually determine the results in your life. All pain, pleasure, or limitation is either originated in the conscious mind or accepted uncritically from an outside source. So either it originates with you, you say, okay, fine, or it comes from an outside source, but you still have to accept it. As you accept a thought, it is impressed upon the second part of your personality. You become what you think about. The subconscious mind, this part of you is certainly the most magnificent. Okay? This part of you is certainly the most magnificent. It is the power center. It functions in every cell of your body. Every thought your conscious mind chooses to accept, this part must accept. It has no ability to reject. Okay? It doesn't have the ability to reject. Then you're like, well, then why is it that I asked for or want something different than what I got and it's rejecting that? Because you've spent more time reinforcing the negative thing you don't want than focusing on the thing that you do want. So it thinks the negative thing you don't want is what's normal. Again, our purpose is to get our subconscious mind to accept what we want our life to be like today is what is normal for us. And as long as we have negative thoughts about money and people with money, and we say things like, well, I only want because, if we're trying to put any kind of limitations, we're basically judging other people with money. Therefore, we're judging ourselves if we were to have it. We can't do that and be unlimited in our ability to attract what we want. Well, you may say, well, I don't need or want to be unlimited. You don't know what it is at this point that you're capable of. You don't know what it is you can be, do, or have just yet. We're going to go more into this as we study and go through this training, but I'm telling you right now that whatever thoughts you have around wealth and people with wealth, if those are negative, you're going to have to turn those around and you're going to have to make those positive. This part of you operates in an orderly manner by law. Talk about orderly. This part of you operates in an orderly manner. By law, it expresses itself through you in feelings and action. And any thought you consciously choose to impress upon the subconscious over and over becomes fixed in this part of your personality. And I repeat that. Any thought you consciously choose to impress upon the subconscious over and over, that's the key there, over and over, 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 tired of that, over and over, becomes fixed in this part of your personality. Fixed ideas will then continue to express themselves without any conscious assistance until they are replaced. Fixed ideas are more commonly referred to as habits. The subconscious mind is the godlike part of you referred to as spirit. It knows no limits save those you consciously choose. And a great book, if you want to go find it and read it, about the subconscious mind is called The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Dr. Joseph Murphy. The body, although this is the most obvious part of you, the material medium, it is merely the instrument of the mind, or the house you live in. The thoughts or images that are consciously chosen, impressed upon the subconscious, which is in every cell of your body, must move your body into action. The actions you are involved in determine your results. So thoughts create feelings, create action, create results. All right. So what we're going to do this week is you're going to go in again to chapter 1. Now, let me share what we aren't going to do each week. We're not together going to listen to Bob and Sandy, okay? You're going to listen to them 7 different times over the next 7 days while you do what we just did, except it'll be much easier to follow along. But you're going to pause when it's time to write and do the work. And each week is going to take, or each day is roughly going to take you somewhere between, let's say, 30 to 40 minutes in an hour. Maybe a little over an hour a couple of times, depending on the writing. Look, if you get past an hour and you don't have time, fine, then you've written up to that point. Then the next day, start over again, but then go to the question maybe that you didn't get to. But what I will tell you is this. If you've gone 30 minutes and you committed to the hour originally when we told you that that's what you need to commit to, don't stop at 40 minutes. Even if you have to divide your day up, keep your commitment to yourself, because that is impressing on your subconscious mind that you're the type of person who keeps your commitments to yourself, even if you haven't in the past, okay? But what you're gonna do is what we did, and you're gonna fill that all out. Then we're gonna come together next week, and I'm gonna share some things with you. We're gonna go through some things together, and we're also going to go over the questions, and I am going to be asking you guys to participate, myself included, and we're going to be sharing what it is that we've been learning as we go through this so that we can help each other out and make it more real, okay? So I'm going to hop out of screen share now. Here we go. Now I can see all your lovely faces, those of you that have your lovely faces up right now. And let's see, we are a little bit after 8 o'clock. We've got a few minutes here. Anybody have any comments or questions at this point? Comments or questions that you would like to share, that maybe comments, if they're, whatever they are, or questions if you'd like some help understanding something. Anybody have anything they'd like to share right now? If you do, just come off mute and go ahead and say so.
Yeah, hi, Kevin. This is Rich.
Rich.
Question.
Yeah.
The actual book, The Science of Getting Rich, which we have in PDF, do you want us to read that first? Or
Okay, so I originally, all the other people in the class at one time, what we used to do is we read that book for the first 2 days every single week. Then we listened to the audios for 3 days. Then we worked on the workbook for 2 days. That's what we used to do, okay? Yourself, and I know Trina and some other people, I had you go through that book for an entire week, basically. That's so that you have an overview of what it is that we're going through. Any of you who
Mhm.
want to do that, by the way, I will share with you, just type into Google Science of Getting Rich PDF, free PDF, easy to find. It's going to be very similar to the workbook, but it's not exactly the same. So you can't just read the workbook and have it be the same thing. Like, for instance, what we went through today, none of that was in the Science of Getting Rich. And we're essentially
Yeah.
skipping over the introduction that is in the Science of Getting Rich and jumping into chapter 1 next week, because Bob had more to share that was relevant and helpful than what Wallace Waddles was sharing in his introduction.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, because what I
yes,
did,
read it.
uh,
Go ahead.
yeah, what I understood with last week was basically to listen to the uh, first MP3 and then follow along with the workbook, which
Which is what we did
the I
tonight.
guess like what's that?
Which is exactly what we did tonight.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And that's what I wanted you guys to do, those of you
Okay.
that are newer with this, because some of us have already spent 18 weeks together.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm wanting
Yeah.
this to get that overview and get this ingrained in. When some people are coming back because they're like, hey, that was odd. Well, obviously if they came back, they must have liked it.
Mhm.
And maybe they didn't quite finish up, but also there's a point where this is going to click. And
Right.
it's when that click goes in, whether it's week 1, week 18, week 30, whatever it is, whenever it clicks, people are going to have this quantum lift. It won't be the only one they ever have, but you're going to have this like da, 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 boom, and you'll plateau again. You may even come
Mhm.
down a little off of the high, but something is going to click because your subconscious mind now says, oh, that's now the normal for
Mhm.
him or her. So I need to cut this out. I need to cut out what I've been doing to you and with you,
Mhm.
and I need to change it because this is what I should be doing, because you convinced me
Yeah.
that that's what should be normal for you. So I'm going to run out
Okay.
and help you get it, and things are going to go into warp speed for you. And all of a sudden, all this
Good.
stuff that you've been trying to do that was so hard to do, it was mostly hard to do not because you weren't smart, not because you weren't trained. It was hard for you because your subconscious mind was fighting you along the way.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. So basically, this week you want us to listen to that again,
No, 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 no,
and
no.
and
I want you to go into chapter 1
oh, chapter 1 of the book.
of the book. So
Okay.
you go now have the workbook. You're going to go into chapter 1 of the workbook, and
We're,
you're going
we're
to go into the second MP3, which is going to be
okay.
chapter 1.
Okay.
And you're going to do that all week.
Okay. Thanks.
Uh-huh. Anybody else? Comments or questions?
Hi, Kevin. This is Trina.
Hi, Trina.
Hi. I was wondering, do you have any tips on how to block negative thoughts? I know it keeps saying, I keep seeing these things where they say you can control your thoughts. I think it's so funny when I think about replay stuff in my mind or incidents, and I'm like, really? You can choose? I can't seem to choose. So, do you have any tips on that?
Yes, I do. I'm going to keep it really easy for the short term for you, Trina. Okay. Do the study that I'm talking about every day. And it's actually going to get deeper into how to do that. But the biggest thing that I find is the way that you start your day has a ton to do with how the day goes. And let me kind of give a visual to everybody here, right? Okay, so, and I don't know what time of day you do or don't shower. I don't know how many times a day you shower. I don't know how many times a week or whatever. Hopefully frequently, but that's not for me to judge. All right.
Or a month.
Yeah, well, a bear like that once a month, right? So anyhow,
Thanks, guys.
here's what yeah, you're welcome. Here's what I would say. If you got up and your habit is to get up in the morning and take a shower, right? And you get dressed up. I know we're COVID, whatever, we don't go out so much. But let's say our habit is to shower, go out and go jog or maybe we jog then shower, whatever. But we've now taken our shower. We've now put on our clothes for the day, whatever we're going to wear for most of the day, right? Whether it's the suit type thing or more casual, it doesn't matter. Let's say that we are walking down the street on the curb. It's been raining a little bit. All right. And an SUV, because that's what everybody drives now almost, hits the mud puddle right next to you and just covers you as it drives by. Do you wait till tomorrow before, and let's say this happens at like 10 in the morning and you're not far from home. Do you say, screw it, I'm going to go throughout my day, and then you're going to go to bed even, and you're not going to do anything about it. You're not going to wipe it off or anything. You're just going to let it seep in, right? And you're going to have to go to bed because, you know what, I already showered today. I don't want to deal with this. And so you're going to wake up the next morning at 6 or 7 and finally take your shower, even though you got hit and you're covered from head to toe because that SUV went through the water and it shot mud all over the top of you. Are you going to live like that for the rest of your day? Or are you going to just be pissed off for a little bit, but you're going to go home, shower, get clean, and then go on with your day? What would you do in a normal situation?
Go home and shower.
Right. So that being said, when somebody mentally, you're walking near the puddle, first of all, stay away from the freaking puddle. That's the best we can, right? And if we know that there's a puddle there and SUVs drive by, what I'm saying is you got this person that's nothing but negative, and every time you get around them, you basically feel like they ran through that puddle and covered you. How often are you going to go back to that puddle? We go back to the puddle, unfortunately, as human beings, a lot. We go back and put ourselves in a position for the SUV to drive by, hit it, and cover us up again. And matter of fact, we're like, that was kind of fun. And we go back the next day for some more. And then we say, hey, let's go talk about this again. Let's do this again. What we ought to do is say, hey, is there a way I can get to where I want to, where I don't have to go by that puddle? Or is there something I could do to stop that SUV from coming by, right? You can take another route, or you can, I know this wouldn't be like the nice thing to do, and it wouldn't be the positive thing to do, but maybe that SUV's tires don't work as well as they normally do, right? I mean, the point is you wouldn't just sit there and take it, you would do something about it. So that's what we have to do with our thoughts. If we're feeling like crap because something outside hit us, or we're doing it to ourselves, we do have the ability at any given time to change our thought and think something different that makes us happy. Now, I'm not going to give you like a bunch of tips. I just gave you a giant visual, though, so that you can say to yourself, am I going to walk around with this mud all over me until tomorrow morning, or am I going to take a shower? I'll let you guys figure that out on your own for now. But as we go through, and study this, you're going to get a lot more training on what to do and how to hold the thoughts and things like that. So I don't want to give a whole seminar right now on doing that, but I do want everybody here to maybe take that visual, and the next time you feel bad, realize that you just got covered like that. Are you going to sit in it? Are you going to wipe it off? And are you going to think something better than what you were thinking? Or are you just going to keep dipping back into that? And if mud doesn't bother you, turn it into horse crap. Turn it into something, cat pee, I don't know, whatever it is, turn it into something that stinks so bad that you would actually couldn't stand to stay in it another minute and treat
it was bad.
Okay. Any other questions or comments right now? You got something, Matt?
Yeah. I was just going to say, it's kind of funny that it's almost tempting to step in the mud puddle.
Yeah.
I mean, we actually haven't, I'm not saying that you should, but just know that there's like some sort of a temptation there. Like that's what I'm dealing with when it comes to mixing it up with people on Facebook or saying what I think or, that kind of thing. But yeah, if you feel muddy afterwards, maybe don't even go near the puddle. I like what you said about that. That's a good analogy, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah, you're totally welcome. Totally welcome. Another thing that you could do that could help you in the mornings, depending on how early you want to wake up. Obviously, I gave you plenty to study. I mean, I'm giving you roughly an hour's worth of work to do each day, right? But I know that Rich has been joining me, who's here right now, and a couple other people have. And I do it, some of you are aware of this, some of you aren't, but I do a class in the morning for about somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes. And it really does last that long. I mean, if we stay on longer, it's, it's like, hey, we're done. If you want to stick around, ask some questions, you're welcome to. No charge for it or anything. It's not structured like this, but I pick a book that I want to study. Maybe I've read it many times, maybe I've read it once, maybe I've never even read it. And I hop on Zoom in the morning for 30 minutes. It starts at 7 a.m. California time. I usually have it going by about 7:02. Do a quick introduction, jump in the material, and we're usually done by 7:20 to 7:25, and then usually a few minutes to answer any questions about what we went over. But a lot of times, you know why I do that? One, because I don't like to get up early. So I won't get up early for myself. I'm not that disciplined. But I will get up early enough if I won't let you guys down. I mean, I've had times where I went to bed really late the night before. And I do this 7 days a week. I don't consider it work because it's just my personal study. I don't work on Sundays. This is, so if you guys try and reach me and ask coaching questions, all that stuff, I'm not really there for that on Sunday. But this particular thing, it's my own personal study. I'm just allowing you guys to be there with me and do it together. But if you want to participate in that, let me give you my email address and I'll send you the link and you're welcome to join in on that. It's every morning, again, 7 o'clock to 7:30. And you can get me at Coach Kevin Sparks. So it's just my name, Coach Kevin Sparks @gmail.com, and say you'd like the link to the morning class. Once you register one time, then you're in forever, kind of thing. And you can come or not come as often as you choose. Like Sunday, usually it's me and 1 or 2 people. During the middle of the week, it might be 4 or 5 people. Just depends on who wants to do that. And a lot of you guys didn't even know about it, or I put it out like one time real briefly and said, hey, here's what I'm doing. And most people don't want to wake up. But I did it to create the habit for myself. One of the things that we need to learn to do for our own mind is actually put ourselves in a position to win. I'll do a lot of times more to help you guys than I will for myself. Therefore, I put myself in a position to win with my own getting up habits and studying by making myself accountable, because I got to be there. I mean, if you wake up and I say I'm going to be there, I don't show up, then I look like an idiot. So I've never missed. I've been doing it for about, 3 weeks now, 3 or 4 weeks. So, but if you want to participate in that, you're totally welcome to do so.
I know, say for myself, I'll say someone wants me to be somewhere at 9 to help them with something, and I will, do all that I need to do to get ready for the morning, and then I'll be wherever at 9 o'clock. But if I plan to do something for myself that I need to do at 9 o'clock, then I'm just bad. I'll probably won't be ready until 10 or 11 or something.
Yeah. So understand that about your study habits. Understand that about your commitments, right? Understand. So if you're in that person, I've got some really good habits, and like most people, I got some pretty habits that I don't want anymore. Okay, so I'm working on them one at a time. But that was one of them. I had a point in my life, only for a few years, where I woke up every day at 6:30, but that was a long time ago. I'm not saying I have a special reason that I have to get up early, other than I just seem to get more done. I mean, it's not, as we go through the study, you'll understand too, it's not about trying to hustle necessarily as much as it's being in the right vibration while you do what you do. But I enjoy, I get on at 7 with you guys, but I don't wake up at 7. I wake up at 5:45. I never wake. I know some of you guys are like, oh, that's no big deal. I grew up on a farm. Like, nah, not this dude right here. This dude hates waking up early. But now I'm so used to doing it. What I actually have to work better on is not going to bed as late, especially on a Saturday or Sunday night, when the next day I got to get up and do that. But I still get up. I do my work for the day. And because I work for myself, then sometimes I go take a nap. I've got the ability to do that. So, all right. I've had fun with you guys tonight. One last call for questions or comments right now. Thank you, Michael. Good to have you with us. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday night or possibly in the morning. All right.
Good
Thanks,
night.
Kevin.
You are welcome. You have a wonderful rest of your evening.